Hi, everybody. Let's see. Let's get this situated. Happy Mother's Day, and I know we're burning the midnight oil, and so it's past, but never too late. Never too late to appreciate mothers, um, because you know they're God's plan. They're God's plan. Mothers are a huge part of God's plan of salvation. And I think that that is a really important message for all mothers and, of course, fathers, but we're recognizing mothers now. And, you know, the family unit, of course, it's going to be under attack. Of course, motherhood is going to be under attack. Of course, fatherhood is going to be attacked because they are God's plan for in his whole plan of salvation. And when you start looking at that, and the old saying, the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. um it's huge. And so I told my mom today how much I love her, how um fortunate that I am to have her for my mom. And even though she's been targeted for harassment and all of this, and how she has stood tall during this time, and my Oma, my grandmother, absolutely just second to none, second to none. So it was these amazing women. My mother-in-law, super amazing women. Oh my gosh, I miss her so much. Um, just amazing women that that put themselves aside and in faith did their duty. That's what they have in common. Um, the women that have inspired, raised me and inspired me. And of course, on Father's Day, I'll talk about my absolute fantastic dad, um, and father-in-law too. We're just very, very fortunate in this world. Uh, and I think to, this movement to try to undo this holiday is just another attack on motherhood. And yeah, I'm not going to stand for it. I'm not going to stand for it one bit. Um, so so yeah, that's um, my Mother's Day wish to everyone. You're just super special, and we thank God for mothers here at Team Find Richard Halliday. Okay, so it looks like I'm on. Looks like everything works. And this is day 1388. 1388 days since Richard was murdered, and we still don't have his body. And we want his body, and we are continuing to. Uh, well, we thought that today would be a pretty quiet Mother's Day, Sunday and all, that it would be. But look, here it is, midnight, and I'm just now coming on. It's been really, really busy because of everything going on with this FitFam thing. People reaching out to us and putting all the uh, connections together. Just it's been a really, really busy day and a very emotional day for the closer you get, we're right over the target. We're very, very close, and getting the big fish. I guess that's what you would call it. We're very close, and getting the big fish, um, and because you have all the the components here, that it's start we have enough now that it's starting to move, and we can see what happened to Richard. And he absolutely was exposing the criminal trafficking network there, on Fort Bliss, absolutely, and in El Paso. And, just explain so many, like Allie Payne, we totally, oh, geez, the conflicts of interest, y'all, the nepotism, the there's a network there, and to understand the first media communications, uh, to try to get help to find Richard, were so botched, and we were so shocked at how they reported it, because it was absolutely indicative that they did not want people looking for Richard, that they didn't want people to even care about Richard, that they just wanted to brush Richard under the carpet. It was so clear at that time, but we were confused on why, who's behind all this, what happened to Richard. Um, and through these years, of course, getting more, every day is breaking news. Every day is breaking news. I mean, just think about the last couple days with FitFam El Paso, the real FitFam El Paso, this breaking news of this Jules Tuganon Chan, and his connections. I It will absolutely floor you when you see, you know, who he is, what he's done, this, real world emergency response, real world emergency response, working, um, eh, with all kinds of different emergencies, including the Walmart mass shooting, including, um, this migrant intake center, the intake center for children, and 85,000 of them are unaccounted for, are missing children. He's part of that. He's has a leadership role in all of that, and a leadership role over the Walmart, and he is controlling the I should say the diet of the thought diet of El Pasoans. Um, and how far does that go out? Does that go into New Mexico? Does that go over to Mexico? You know, the because that's all connected. And he is feeding the public what they're supposed to be thinking, right? And about Walmart, and then to add Ernest Christopher Grant to the mix, and David Candelaria, NBC's KTSM, with Danae Katzen, and this is, and then why is Danae Katzen on FitFam, getting outed as criminal when she absolutely is connected to David Candelaria? Um, you know, these are questions. Is there something going on that, you know, did she get too bold? Did she get too big for her britches? That she's even making those that protect her upset that they will expose her. That's what passed our minds, because she doesn't even want to pay for her wedding. She feels like she's entitled to screw every business that helped out with her wedding. Small businesses are not going to take too kindly to that. Yeah, that's just unacceptable. I think even for maybe like a criminal network, that's kind of unacceptable. I don't know. Because they are pretty evil. They're pretty up to no good. They're so evil. I mean, 85,000 missing children, and they're in the trafficking business. Um, and of course, this is, it leads all to the murder of our son. Um, it leads to the Walmart mass shooting. There is no denying that Ernest Christopher Grant is very well protected. There's no denying that because he was arrested by Secret Service and let go and let go. And he absolutely is up to no good. And when you spew the garbage that he spewed for the Walmart mass shooting, that was, so divisive, so vile and vulgar and untrue. See, absolutely what he said was untrue. And even the El Paso Police Department. And Patrick Crucius got 1,000 years in prison. 1,000 years in prison, and murderers are walking around. Murderers that participated in the Walmart mass shooting are walking around, and Patrick Crucius got 1,000 years, and he's not allowed to speak. And I don't know if he can totally speak. Can he speak? He needs to be allowed to speak. He's been in isolation for 5 years. And we don't even know uh, how severely mentally um, deep this condition goes that he has, this autism, how severe it is, because the Judge Madrano, has not even issued, even with all those millions of dollars, he hasn't even brought a scheduling for a mental health evaluation for Patrick Crucius. I don't know how many millions of dollars it takes to get a mental health evaluation for Patrick Crucius. It seems like it's going to be pretty high because he just sits there in isolation. Because we know that what Ernest Christopher Grant, and we know that Donna Sifford is up to no good. But when you're talking the real Fit Fam El Paso and Ernest Christopher Grant's name pops up, and that is not unrealistic. You see, that's not unrealistic. Because what was Ernest Christopher Grant's position in the orchestration of the Walmart mass shooting? It was media. He was the media sweetheart. Yes, he was a victim. I don't know how bad. I don't know. Being married to a PA, look, you cannot be shot by a high-powered rifle and just walk around. Two times where it seems like, in his words, in Chris's words, grenades exploding in your spine, right? And walk around, and wait around, and then all of a sudden get in a truck of an off-duty cop who also has questionable connections. They all have questionable connections. Uh, the other There's several other witnesses that have questionable connections, and then there's witnesses about the multiple shooters. And what do they get? They get bullied. They get silenced. It was absolutely a control of narrative. And how do you know it was a control of narrative? How do I know it was a control of narrative? Because on the same day, just hours later, they absolutely came out and said this is a lone shooting. This is a lone wolf shooting. This is just one shooter. This is just one shooter. This is just hours, just hours before any forensic could be done. Before any forensics could be done on any of those bodies, the victims, and then those bodies, those victims' bodies, remains, went to an illegal chief medical examiner, Mario Raskin Ortiz. And it's just, I would have a hard time thinking, that this could be possible. But I've got the proof. And so I have to face it. We've got the proof. We've got his broken visa. The other reports of others saying that he is an illegal medical judicial officer, that he cannot be in that position. That's not us saying it. Those are reports. And we were fortunate to find, to have Team Find Richard Halliday to get that information. So not only do we have an illegal chief medical examiner, a usurper for the district attorney's office there, Bill Hicks, who needs to be arrested. They both need to be arrested because they're botching up the whole judicial system. And then Danae can, just run over these small businesses, or bigger businesses there in El Paso, and rack up all of these bills and say, I'm not paying you. And who's going to arrest her? Who's going to arrest her? How is she going to be prosecuted? And she's part of Richard's case. She's part of Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, the 3905 Bliss Avenue, at the same time. And Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia is part of the Walmart case. And she targeted our son. Why? Because Richard was exposing the criminal trafficking network there. And it has something to do with the Walmart mass shooting. Because his complaints came before that. And they targeted him. And Danae targeted. And Danae and Rosa Maria both share a like address, the same 3905 Bliss Avenue. And now we have FitFam. I guess they're just fed up with her. She just overdid her protection, I guess. I don't know. um, because now she's featured in FitFam for the crime that she's committed, and maybe she's committed more crime. Maybe they're going light and easy on her. Can you imagine? And where's David Candelaria in this whole thing with KTSM? Because when his name pops up, because he's absolutely, um, you know, connected to the Fit Fam El Paso. Absolutely, David Candelaria is. So, I mean, I had to take a little pause there to, you have to wrap your head around that when you know that your son's story should be covered. It's such a big story. And what do? They attack. They they put up Bob Moore's story, which leads us to the breaking news. Bob Moore's breaking news. Bob Moore is once again doing his evil tactics. It's not enough that he's doing it to us. It's not enough. He has to do it to others, right? He has to do it to others. And he is attacking a school teacher, um, targeting, writing stories, omitting important details so that he can make her look like a criminal. Sounds like what they did to Richard, right? Let's omit the important details and make him look like a criminal. Same MO. That's what they were doing to this teacher. And that they even had her arrested. And that in this arrest, um, documents got tampered with. Is that what they did with Richard? They tampered with documents? So it's like the same MO for both, when they target you and they want to defame you to make everyone else, they want to dehumanize you. They want to make it to where no one cares about you. Oh, you know, you're just a criminal. So, oh, well, they can do whatever. And people are believing the media. Well, Bob Moore is up to no good. And he cannot be believed because he omits very important information. He reports only what goes along with his agenda. Well, maybe it's not his agenda, maybe it's somebody that he's working for agenda. Who's the big fish that he's working for? Right? That's who we're looking for. Maybe it's some older big fish. We'd like to know who he's working for to target these families, target our family. Yeah, it's okay. So in this latest article today, I think it's good news for us. It doesn't make us happy to see a family have to suffer like we're suffering. We don't want to share this suffering with anybody. We don't want Bob Moore to target other people like they've targeted us and smear our son's name, smear my name, our family's name. And now a teacher is being smeared. And she may wind up being a huge hero. I think she's well on the way. I think even a reporter had to skedaddle and hit the high road. Didn't want anything to do with what Bob Moore's tactics are. his agenda tactics for some kind of big fish. And I think we're very close now. And, I don't want to give anyone false hope. Everything is in God's timing. But when we figured out, uh, you know, Dirty Nieto in the FBI, of course, right? The supervisory director, and then Dirty Soto and Tavita Nusa in the CID, and then you figured out um, the dirty IG Donna Martin, 3-star General Donna Martin, and you see the other dirty generals in this. And right now, Major General Eisenhower, he's so dirty, right? And then, you figure out the media, and they're, it's always KTSM, El Paso Matters, and KTSM, that's David Candelaria, and then El Paso Matters is Bob Moore, and then you have the Real Fit Fam El Paso, the the military man, the military man that uh, Jules Chan, that handles real world emergencies. Who's the emergency for? Is it for a big fish? Is it for a big criminal fish? A big criminal trafficking fish? I don't know. Because where are the stories of Richard? The true stories of Richard. Not the Bob Moore stories of Richard where the new information has been omitted. I'm talking about the Jesus Melendez kin canine. I'm talking about the Nadal Bayim, Richard's remains found in Mexico. I'm talking about the Judge Roger Rodriguez whistleblower, where this is the big one. This is the big one because it exposed the Fort Bliss CID, the agent Tavita Nusa, rolling in the hay with his girlfriend, Leilani Hart. I shouldn't even make it seem that kind of romantic, because it was adulterous. No respect for mamas there. No respect for mamas there. And she's getting unauthorized access in the CID office to target and tamper with Richard's investigation, with the evidence. And she, is the mother of Richard's platoon leader, Dallas Hart. And then to have Dallas Hart's name in connection with the Real Fit Fam El Paso, which, so you have Christopher Grant. He's a media sweetheart. So he's very connected to media. You have David Candelaria being the NBC KTSM affiliate, right? The affiliate for NBC there in El Paso, connecting and with the likes of Danae Katzen, who's all over the Real Fit Fam El Paso. Well, she was on the news before because she was a fugitive, right? For all of her con jobs. She's been conning for a long time. And she's in connection with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, the con woman, in connection with the Walmart case. And David Candelara's rubbing up against them, so to speak. Not literally, well, I don't know, whatever, but so to speak. Bringing her, rolling out, okay, I'll say it this way, rolling out the red carpet for Danae. I just wonder what in the world did Natasha Paloma, what was she really thinking? What was she really thinking? Wow, Danae must be a big story or something because we're rolling out. My boss wants to roll out the red carpet for her for hours. Give a big meeting room to her. Give, the big studio to her. Wow. Um, yeah. I mean, they covered us too. But the likes of Danae, when she has a history, a criminal history, and she's a con person. She's a con woman. And, nobody's saying, wait a minute, we did a background check on her and she's not really believable. And they're trying to do a gun hit, because it was all about the gun. They never really mentioned her name. The back seat, there was a gun, with the other soldier, right? That had supposedly had Richard's credit cards. Where is Richard's missing credit cards? That's the failure of CID, the failure of the 15 plus agency Find Richard Halliday Task Force, the failure of Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, the failure of Lieutenant General Donna Martin, the failure of McConville and General McConville and General Garrett and more. That's what that is. All these, like, where's his car, right? Where's his car? Really, what happened to the car? That's was there is a criminal trafficking network on Fort Bliss that runs through El Paso, and Richard was exposing it and trying to find out what happened to Richard, exposes it again. And that's what's going on. And it seems to me, if I have to just give an analysis of my opinion, it seems to me that NBC KTSM is involved in this, and that El Paso Matters and Bob Moore absolutely involved in this, with Angela Kachurga of KTEP, UTEP involved in this, and the Real Fit Fam El Paso involved in this, and the forming, the hypnotizing the community with false information, false stories that have weaponized our agencies, weaponized our media. Because isn't that what this Bob Moore story that came out today by, what is it, El Paso News or something? Isn't that what was being said? That this teacher accuses Bob Moore of weaponizing the system against her? We have the hijacking of our uniforms. That's what we have. The hijacking of positions and uniforms. And they need to be removed. Those that have hijacked, they need to be arrested. They need to be taken out. We can't allow our Constitution, right, that allows for these uniforms, these positions of power to be abused, to be hijacked and abused and weaponized against whistleblowers, against because that's what we're talking about here. And the whistleblowers are showing up dead. And then they want to um, use the media to give a false narrative. And, in the whole case with, I really need to go back and look at FitFam, how they covered the Walmart mass shooting. Because if they repeated things that Ernest Christopher Grant said, and Ernest Christopher Grant is, from our information that we're getting, thank you, Team Fine Richard Halliday. Ernest Christopher Grant is like some kind of director, some kind of uh, big party, a very big party to FitFam El Paso. I hope they answer those questions, because if he's spewing his lies like he was all through the media and using, like an incognito FitFam, I mean, is that illegal? Is that illegal? I, you know, wow, that all needs to be investigated, because what that was doing was interfering with the election. It was in 2019 and through 2020, it was interfering with the election 100%, putting forth those false gun narratives, the false white supremacy narratives, the evil things that Chris Grant said that happened in the Walmart that absolutely didn't happen. How do I know that? Because we've got pictures. We have pictures of Patrick Crusius totally clean, surrendering himself to a Hispanic police officer. He's totally clean shoes, totally clean pants. If you listen to Christopher Grant, that would be impossible. So you have to look at the forensics. And the forensics proved, just with the few pictures out there and videos, that Christopher Grant was absolutely lying. And that's why he was arrested. But, I mean, the times were so crazy. People actually believe this garbage. Like real quick, like without even a proper investigation, without any proper oversight. And now we're finding out that we have a whole big problem in the whole Department of Justice there in El Paso because of a big fish. Somebody knows who the person is in charge of El Paso, because I have my opinion on that, because El Paso Matters is owned by El Paso Community Foundation, and El Paso Community Foundation gave a lot of money to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. And that's because there's a connection there too, because the little baby at the Walmart that survived didn't get anything. The last time we heard, didn't get anything. So El Paso Community Foundation is up to no good, because they own El Paso Matters. You know them by their fruit, right? Who in their world that is trying to work for charity would hire Bob Moore? Who would do that? Sorry. Bob Moore's MO is to target whistleblowers and to make their lives miserable and to put their lives in danger. Um, yeah, it's a terrible thing. And he participated. He was over there at that evil site that was stealing our name, stealing our son's image, and superimposing our son's image on a recently executed inmate. And yet he wouldn't talk, he would rub shoulders with them, go and chat with them, collude, conspire, whatever you want to call it, plan out their agenda, rub their hands together like witches and warlocks. But 15 plus times that we tried to discuss what was going on in our son's case and what he was not reporting, there was no answer. No answer. And then he wants to hijack our son's death notice. Hijack it and be the sole reporter on it. And people don't think that there's a I don't think people don't they absolutely know, because that's why our day was so busy. They absolutely know that our media has been hijacked as well as our uniforms. And that David Candelara's up to no good, that Bob Moore's up to no good, and that Jules Chan with seems to be Christopher Grant with Dallas Hudick with the help of Dallas Hart. I mean, everyone needs to tell us if, they've got information that these people are, targeting our son's case, knows where the remains are of our murdered son, and knows what the heck happened at the Walmart that caused so many deaths. And there's more crime that needs to be answered for. So thank you so much for coming on so late. I know we've been burning the midnight oil, and it's because we're getting very, very close to this person that is in control of this criminal trafficking. And I'm just gonna um, just call him the big fish, because we have to stop or restrain at the, you know, we have got to do something. So we're going to stand up against these people um, and free our uniforms again, so that those deserving could wear them. And the positions that someone that's trustworthy can become the DA, that someone that's trustworthy, that has been vetted, that is the best of the best of the best attorneys, the best of the best medical examiners. That's who we need in these positions. So thank you so much, everyone. Um, and we need the best of the best as journalists. We need to free that all up. There needs to be a restructuring. There really does. Because if they've captured El Paso, the way they have for years, and it took this many murders, this many small businesses to be hurt, even big business, think about Walmart, right? to have them um, have to go through this kind of nonsense because the or evil go through this kind of evil because the justice system is broken and criminals just think that they could do those kind of things. Orchestrate. Oh, what are you doing today? Oh, where I'm going to meet at the coffee house or this restaurant and we're going to talk about, conducting a mass shooting right here in town. Don't show up at Walmart if you don't want to possibly get killed because we're orchestrating it. Yeah, we're going to be talking about where we're going to get those M4s and those brown tip bullets. That's what, oh yeah, well, that's on our agenda. I mean, that that just can't happen. And it did because it was orchestrated. Somebody actually had a discussion. So, and Chris Cuomo's in the news a lot lately, and it always gives me just the creeps because he was absolutely part of this narrative making um, with Ernest Christopher Grant. Yeah, that video gives me the creeps. So they spew lies, y'all. They spew lies. Thank you so much. God bless you. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Thanks so much. And once again, happy Mother's Day. And we're getting close. We're getting very close. But all in God's timing. I wish I could tell you, but it's all in God's timing. Thank you. Please share, comment, and like.